There it goes. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Codeman Movies. Before we start, I want to let you know there's going to be some noise going on. There's some construction right outside my house, and I'm trying to do it at a time when they're not doing as much, but it's possible you're going to hear some noise. So yeah, guys, welcome back. We got another episode in. I'm going to do something real quick. Hold on, give me 1 second. A little too dark in here. I'm going to turn on some lights here. This one, oh, not that one. This one. That should make it a little bit better, I would think. We'll see. But yeah, guys, welcome back to another episode of Codeman Movies. I am still exhausted. I don't know if you can really tell. Back to normal hours at my job. Still looking to figure out what I'm going to do. I'm going on vacation September 9th. I'm going to Maine. I'm going to be gone for about 2 weeks or so. And yeah, so we'll see how I'm doing after vacation. And after vacation is really when I'm going to start deciding what I'm going to do. I really want to move. I need to move to a different place. I need to start all over in life is what I need to do. But yeah, I'm doing fine. Everything's great. I'm just realizing some things in my life and realizing I have to make some changes. Hold on, I'm forgetting a couple things today. I'm losing my gall darn mind. How's everybody else doing, though? Hope everything's good with everybody else in the world. Hope everybody is doing all right. You know, all right is at least what we need in life. We don't need amazing necessarily. We just need we're doing all right. We're doing okay. We're alive. We're kicking. Probably couldn't even see my foot. I mean, kicking. Yeah, you couldn't even see the fact that I raised my foot. There we go. Kicking. Yeah, guys, I'm alive and kicking. That's what I like to tell everyone lately. I'm alive and kicking. I'm doing just fine. But let's talk about movies, guys. Starting with this first movie that we have up already here. Oh, first of all, drink. I'm drinking amaretto sour today. Just kind of need to keep it light. I have to work at a few hours here, 4 hours here, so. Yeah. So let's start by talking about some movies, shall we? First movie of the day is Atomic Blonde. Watched this movie with my film group. The theme of the week was Spy Week. I'm going to put that down so I can use my hands a bit more. Spy Week. And this was the movie that was picked, was Atomic Blonde. I remember seeing this movie back in 2017. I don't think I saw it in theaters. I think I saw it at home. And I remember being very excited for this movie. Charlize Theron, James McAvoy, John Goodman's in this movie. Toby Jones is in this movie. Sophia Boutella in this movie. Great cast. Also, the director is one of the directors of John Wick. He did Deadpool 2. Deadpool 2 hadn't come out at this point, though. This was 2017. But I was very excited for this movie. And I remember seeing it and just being slightly disappointed by it. I was hoping for a movie that is, like, as good as John Wick. This movie's not as good as John Wick. It's still an enjoyable movie. If you don't know, the director of this movie still kind of is, but was a stunt double. He worked with Brad Pitt on like Fight Club and Matrix, and he stunt guy. So I knew that the action sequences were going to be incredible, and they absolutely are. There's the one scene in the movie where they're fighting on a stairwell, and it looks incredible. It looks like one big shot. It's fantastic. All the fight scenes are brutal, and they feel very realistic. Every punch you feel, every gunshot, it definitely feels brutal and realistic. The story, though, for this movie is kind of absolutely nothing. And it's not absolutely nothing in the way that, like, John Wick is. Because John Wick is essentially a guy steals his car and kills his puppy. He's going to kick your ass. This movie, there's a plot that I honestly don't remember. I watched the movie a week ago now, and I don't remember the plot that much. There's something with other spies or something. I honestly don't know. I'm struggling to try to remember what the plot of this movie is, because it's kind of nothing. It's just Charlize Theron being a badass, and kicking ass. And there's that Saw. Too bad I wasn't talking about Saw today. But anyways, guys, the story is kind of nothing. It's drink break time. The story's nothing, guys. The more that they got into the story, the more I kind of got bored with this movie. This movie does that thing where she's kind of sitting down and telling the story, so it goes back and forth, and every time it kind of did that, I was like, okay, seen this, done this, not a fan. So not a fan of that at all. Charlize, though, is fantastic, and from the amount of work she put into this movie, I applaud her for that, and I am so happy that there are still actors out there that want to take the time to do their own stunts, that want to put their all into a role. I heard she like cracked her teeth and stuff like that while making this movie. She really put her all into this movie, and I love that. I do wish, even though I didn't love this movie, I wish there were sequels, and there's rumors that there might be sequels coming to Netflix. Charlize has some friends, I guess, with Netflix, since she did that one movie. Can't remember, that one pandemic movie. She did that movie. Maybe we'll get a Netflix sequel. I'd be okay with that. Even though I do want to, if I didn't see that, I don't think I saw this in theaters. I really don't. I think I saw this at home. This is a movie I'd like to see in theaters, though. It is a big, awesome action movie and should be seen in theaters. This movie has a great soundtrack, lots of 80s songs, and I mean, it ends with Bowie and Queen, what's the song? Under Pressure. Great freaking way to end the movie. Sophia Boutella, she's fantastic. This is kind of like one of the last movies that I know her to be in, though. Mummy came out with Tom Cruise, and I just haven't seen her since. I would love for her to come back. She's great in Kingsman. She's great in this, and I just want Sophia Boutella back. This movie also had a really great opening. It's something I never really realized, I guess. Someone in my film group mentioned it, the fact that it opens with the villain. It opens with this very interesting, not telling you a lot scene with the villain, and that's really cool. I 100% agree. It really is a great opening showing us the villain. You know, it's kind of just like this movie's John Wick, but just less interesting. And I don't mean that in the sense that it's a woman in the lead role. I just mean that story-wise. I love the fact that John Wick is so simple. And I think this movie it's not simple. They try to make this big plot that gets convoluted at times. And it's kind of what I didn't like about John Wick sequels is John Wick 2 tries to have this big story, which was still an enjoyable story. And the third one really puts this story, this globe-trotting story that just didn't need to be there, which is why I didn't love John Wick 3. That's kind of this movie. It's just, it tries to do too much when, at the end of the day, I just want an enjoyable action movie, which there is enjoyable action sequences in it, but the story just, it's not as great as I would have liked, I guess. It's not a bad movie. It's quite enjoyable. I have no plans to rewatch this again unless it is with another group or, you know, they do have a sequel and I want to rewatch the first one again. At the end of the day, guys, I'd give this movie like a 6 out of 10. It's just not quite what I'd like it to be. It's kind of a movie that I would prefer to go on YouTube and just kind of watch the great scenes of it. And that's about it, if I'm being honest. So, Atomic Blonde, it's not my favorite. Still enjoyable. 6 out of 10. If you haven't seen it, I would recommend it. Next up, guys, another movie that we watched in our film group a few weeks back, and I just never got around to watching it. Mamma Mia, here we go again. What was our category that week? It was quit your job. That was the theme, I think. I can't remember. I think that's right. Anyway, guys, Mamma Mia, here we go again. Sequel to Mamma Mia. Mamma Mia came out, in 2005? This one came out in 2018. I enjoy the first Mamma Mia quite a bit. I like ABBA's music. The first Mamma Mia, they film in Greece, and it looks beautiful, and it's just a stupid, dumb, over-the-top, ridiculous movie that knows what it is. The scene's not so great from Brosnan, but it's fine. The movie itself is dumb, but it's enjoyable. If you're having a bad day and you watch Mamma Mia, you'll feel a little better. And you might plan a vacation to Greece because it just looks so beautiful where they filmed this movie. So yeah, the sequel. I remember seeing this in theaters in 2018. And I remember just going, like, It was very, So I was not excited to see this movie a second time around with Film Group. But, it's Film Group, so I had to. Like I said, the first movie is kind of just a guilty pleasure. You watch it on a bad day, and you just feel better. I remember the marketing for the movie was really marketing Meryl Streep. Meryl Streep is in this movie for about 2 minutes. Her character, within the first 10 minutes, you learn her character has now died. You don't know why her character died. You don't know how her character died. She's just dead. And the movie kind of replaces Streep instead with Lily James, who is amazing. She's playing. The movie goes back and forth. It goes back in time when Donna, Meryl Streep's character, was young, and then goes to Donna's daughter, Amanda Seyfried's character, to the present. And it goes back and forth throughout the movie. And it's almost kind of hard to tell who is who because it kind of looks similar. And it just goes back and forth the entire movie. So it's a prequel, it's a sequel, it's a bit of everything. Drink break. Anyways, guys, so it's a prequel, it's a sequel. Like I said, I love ABBA. The first movie uses all the good songs, though. This movie, I think, struggles to get more good songs of ABBA. I'm just going to talk through it. Screw it. The first one uses literally like the greatest hits album of ABBA. And then the second one puts in a few more, but they're never as good or catchy as the first movie. And they do some other songs that are in the first one, and they put it in this one, but it's just not quite the same effect. There is this very uninteresting plot line where Sophie, Amanda Seyfried's character, and Sky, Diego Luna's character, not Diego Luna, Dominic Cooper, sorry, where they're kind of at odds, blah, 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 no one cares. Dominic Cooper's character is just annoying in this movie, and I hate him. We were talking about that in the chat, how we just would love for him to just, have been dead instead of Meryl Streep because his character is so boring. Lily James, again, is great as young Donna. I wish it wasn't, honestly, I wish it wasn't going to the present. I wish this movie just stayed in the past and gave us a prequel. It might have been more enjoyable for me. And then maybe just later down the road have gotten a actual sequel. Not killed off Donna, kill off Sky. I don't know. This movie also retcons a lot of things. If you watch the first one, there's a lot of things that are said, and this movie does like the exact opposite of it. Like, I met this character on an island. Well, she didn't meet that character, she met this character on an island. And it just doesn't make, it doesn't flow necessarily. It really just almost doesn't care about the first. And it's very interesting. I also wonder why Meryl Streep wasn't in this one. I don't know if they didn't want to pay her enough. I don't know if she was busy doing other things. It's just very interesting that you make a Mamma Mia sequel and you just don't have Streep in the movie. It kind of blows my mind a little bit. At the end of the day, though, this is similar to the first. It's a dumb, fun movie. There are enjoyable parts to this. This movie is funny. It's got a lot of heart. Cher's a terrible actress, but she's in the movie for 10 minutes. The credits are probably the best part of this movie. and this the scene with the most Meryl Streep as well, so that makes sense. You can tell everyone who's working on this movie is having a blast filming in Greece, which I don't know how you couldn't. It just looks amazing there. I don't think this movie's better than the first, but it is still enjoyable enough. I would give the first one probably a 6. It's not a good movie, but it's fun. This movie I'd give a 5. It's okay. I will not rewatch this again until, again, similar to Atomic Blonde, until there's a group that I watch it with or another sequel comes. Otherwise, I don't plan on watching this one again. I prefer just to watch the first one. I think the first one is so much better. I think the first one just knows what it is a lot more. So, yeah. Still enjoyable movie. I'll give this one a 5 out of 10 though. Just not quite what I'd like it to be. So next up, guys, we have a new Netflix movie, Me Time. Always got to start out a Kevin Hart review by saying I don't like Kevin Hart. He is just the same and always annoying to me. He is Kevin Hart. I'm the short little black guy who also has some muscles, but I'm a wimp. And it's always the same. It's never any different. And that's why I don't like Kevin Hart. He annoys me because it's all the same thing. I can almost tell you it's going to come out of his mouth because it's going to be some reference to the fact he's short. It's going to be a reference to the fact that he's buff, but also a wimp. And he's going to freak out because that's all he does. He goes, what's going on? And this movie is no different. For starters, this movie has some terrible special effects, some terrible green screen. There's a scene with a mountain lion, and oh my god, does it look bad. And again, it's Kevin Hart going, help me, ah! And it's so bad. This movie is kind of a cartoon. It really is. It's a cartoon in live action, and it's kind of annoying. The movie's very cliche. You know exactly what's going to happen before it even happens. You might not necessarily know exactly how it happens, but you're going to know this is how it happens. Something's going to make this happen. You just know this entire movie before it even happens, and it's annoying. Mark Wahlberg's character and a lot of other characters in this movie are just children. Mark Wahlberg is just a man-child, and he's just annoying and stupid, and it's just a lot of characters. I didn't feel for any character in this movie. There's a lot of times where I'm watching this movie and I'm literally rolling my eyes at the things they're doing, the things they're saying, because it just doesn't make any sense. And it is just dumb. Also, this movie is supposed to be a comedy. It's from the director of I Love You Man and Along Came Polly, both comedies. Not the greatest comedies, in my opinion. Although, well, I take it back. I Love You Man is a pretty damn good movie. And that's a funny movie. This movie's not funny. It's just not funny at all. I wanted to laugh throughout this movie, and I didn't. It's dumb and boring. Honestly, this is weird to say. This movie reminds me very much of a movie I think I talked about last week. A Man from Toronto, another Kevin Hart Netflix movie. It's pretty much the exact same plot, except instead of Woody Harrelson, badass hitman, it's Mark Wahlberg, man-child loser. But otherwise, it's the same movie. Same not funniness. Same we're just going to get into hijinks. And we're going to do stupid shit. That's all this movie is. I don't know what else to say about this movie, honestly. Kevin Hart and Mark Wahlberg have great chemistry. They look like they're having fun. But at the end of the day, they're idiots doing things they're not supposed to be doing, things that they should be going to prison for. There's a lot of things that they do in this movie that I'm just you would immediately get arrested and be in prison for the rest of your life. Because there's just some awful things that they do. And at the end of the day, it's just not funny. It's not just a lot of moments where I go, ugh. And half the script for this movie, too, is just, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Mark Wahlberg says it about 100 times. Kevin Hart, of course, goes, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Like, it's just, and it's just not a good movie, guys. Not a good movie. Even if you watch it on Netflix, I think this is a waste of time. Don't do it. Don't do what I did. I'll give this movie like a 3 out of 10. There was maybe a couple chuckles in there. Technical aspects are all right at times. I got nothing else to say about this flippin' movie. Next up, guys, I want to talk about War of the Worlds. This is the remake that Steven Spielberg did, starring Tom Cruise. I had never seen this movie before up until this last week. I had just always heard things about this movie. This was at the time that Tom Cruise was going a little crazy, jumping on Oprah's couch, in love with Katie Holmes, his Scientology crap. It's not really stuff I focus on. I focus on the movie itself. And honestly, guys, this is a good movie. I don't know what... I hate that we focus sometimes on people's lives and don't focus on the movie. Hundreds of people... Look at the credits for this movie. Hundreds of people worked on this movie. And we are downgrading their work because Tom Cruise's personal life. I think that's stupid. I hate that. And it definitely affected me watching this movie, I think, a little bit. And not in a good way, because the movie's not bad. This is actually a really good movie. I think it was more of just people being negative on this movie because of Tom Cruise's life, when they should have been talking about the movie, not Tom Cruise's life. And I don't think I ever heard that this movie was good, ever. Which it is. I don't understand why people were saying this movie's bad because of Tom Cruise's personal life. Stupid. Anyways, guys, this is it's a fun, it's a scary concept. The idea of aliens coming and taking over the planet, how we would react, what we would do. It's very interesting. Special effects in some moments of this movie are a little iffy at times. Which is weird. It's a Steven Spielberg movie. He has good special effects usually. Steven Spielberg is the guy who did Jaws. You know, I think a couple of these scenes maybe just didn't need to have aliens in it. You could have just not had them. Not knowing what they are and not seeing what they are is scarier than actually seeing a visual effect that doesn't look good. You know what I mean? So that was interesting. I heard that this movie was rushed and filmed in like this record amount of time, that like they filmed it like the same year it came out, I think, or something like that. So that kind of explains a little bit of it, at least with the visual effects. There is a scene though that, so I would say the first half of this movie is really good. And then there's this point towards the second half of the movie well, this movie's been out forever. I'm going to spoil it. There's a point in this movie where Tom Cruise's son goes, I want to see the creatures and I want to fight them and I kind of want to join the army, kind of. He wants to like join the military. He wants to help fight these things for some reason. He's like a 10-year-old kid or whatever. No, he's not 10. He's like 15 because he's driving. I want to say it's like 15, 16. Anyways, there's just this point in the movie where he all of a sudden wants to fight. And there's a couple scenes of it. And then Tom Cruise, he's just like, Dad, let me go. And he goes. And Tom Cruise lets him go. And he goes back to the daughter. And then the son's just gone for the rest of the movie. And it was almost like they just didn't want the son in the movie anymore. So they got rid of him by saying, oh, I want to fight. I didn't see the point. It was weird. It was out of left field. I hated that. I also don't buy the son survives somehow. I don't buy it. This little spoiled little brat somehow survives and gets the end of the entire movie is this family trying to get to Boston. They're in New York and they need to get to Boston because they think they'll be safe there. The boy ends up there first. How the hell did that happen? Like, I just don't understand that. I I hate that. But yeah, I just felt like they didn't want the character in the movie, so they kind of just took him out. And they were like, well, we already filmed half this movie. We got to keep the first half in with him for some reason. I don't know. The sound, the looks, the editing, all the technical aspects are fantastic. It's a Steven Spielberg movie. We should expect that. I didn't love how white this movie is, though. Like, characters look like ghosts almost. It just looks weird. I feel like Tom Cruise or Steven Spielberg was doing that though, with his movies at this time for some reason. I don't know what his reason was for that. Maybe he was just depressed. I don't know. But yeah, I didn't love the whites. You get used to it, but it was very at first. I also don't find the narration by Morgan Freeman, I believe, at the beginning and end very necessary. It's a minor gripe with the movie. Again, I'd say like the first half of this movie is really good. The second half is really poor though. I didn't buy how the movie ends. I didn't buy this thing with the son. A lot of disappointing things in that second half, but a great first half. Some great moments of tension. Great thrilling scenes. I won't be watching this one anytime soon. I'll more kind of want to go back and just Google some things or YouTube something, images, scenes of this movie, because there is a bunch of great scenes in this movie, particularly one in the second half where they're in a basement and the aliens coming around looking for them. Fantastic scene. It definitely reminds me of the kitchen scene Jurassic Park, but Jurassic Park's a better movie, and I can just go watch Jurassic Park with the scene, the dinosaurs in the kitchen, and it's better. So I think I'd just rather watch Jurassic Park instead of this one. So yeah, guys, it's fine. It's a little messy. Still a good movie, and I hate that someone's personal life changes how we think of a movie. It bugs me. At the end of the day, guys, I'm going to give this movie a 7 out of 10. It's enjoyable. I don't know how often I will watch this movie. Not my favorite. But yeah, it's enjoyable enough. Next up, guys, I just went to Chicago a month ago. You guys know that. Well, you maybe know that. If you've been watching, you know that. So I've been kind of obsessed with Chicago movies lately. Candyman 2021. This was filmed in Chicago, I believe, in 2019. It would have been filmed in Chicago. And I remember seeing this last year in theaters, and I enjoyed it. Didn't love it. I enjoyed it. But I needed to watch it again because I wanted to see the scenes in Chicago. A couple times where I paused the movie because I knew exactly where I was at, and it's just always really cool. I don't know if you guys have ever experienced that, where you're watching a movie and you just know where that's filmed. You know exactly where exactly where they're standing. It's just kind of a cool moment, and it was really cool to pause the movie and just know that I have stood in the same spot where they were like filming this movie. It's just kind of cool. So yeah, there is some really great technical work in this movie. Again, I'm going to say technical this week, because I've watched a lot of movies where there's lots of technically great things about it. The sound, the editing, blah, 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 the direction of the movie everything looks great. Sound is really great. This movie is also a horror movie. I don't know if you knew that, but there's some great kills, some great moments of tension. Very cool creative kills, actually. The kills are very unique. The one that takes place in the museum, one that takes place in the apartment building, absolutely amazing and freaky. Absolutely love those scenes. I enjoy the main characters, Tarana Paris, I believe her name is, and Abdul something, I can't remember his name. But the two main leads are really great. Really enjoy their characters. There is a lot of on-the-nose messaging in this movie, though. Particularly, it's from producer Jordan Peele. Kind of my same problem that I had with Get Out, with, being a black person in the streets of Chicago. And it's just a little too much. I understand what they're going for. They're trying to show what the lives are of a black person. And again, I can't necessarily relate to that. I'm white, but as you can see, I'm white. But, you know, I think there's ways of doing it. There's some scenes where I really like the messaging. It isn't on the nose, and it is just giving this message. And then there's just scenes at the end that's just like laying it on like a slice of bread. And it just doesn't need to be doing that. It's going too far for something that doesn't need that. We don't need that much of it. And just laying it on too thick in my personal opinion. Hold on, I gotta fix my iPad here. Sorry guys, I really am tired. I might take a nap after this. I was gonna go golfing, but I don't think I'm doing that. Maybe tomorrow. So yeah. The movie though, it looks great. It's enjoyable enough. If you're looking for a movie with some cool kills, that it's got it. If you want some movie with tension, it's definitely got some tension. But it's just kind of bogged down by messages. I also think this movie's too short. There's a moment in the movie where things just kind of start happening, and we're at the finale already. And I would have loved another 10, 15 minutes of this movie just to give us a little bit more. And maybe the end thing that happens in this movie that drives me nuts wouldn't drive me nuts as much. I'm not going to completely spoil this movie just because it's only been out for a year. August 27th. It's literally been out for a year now. Wow, that's insane. That was a year ago. Wow, life changes in here. Yeah, it's a really great movie. You know, I just wish it wasn't bogged down by messages. That's really my biggest negative of the movie. I don't want so much messaging thrown at me that I feel like an idiot. I don't know. It's just, I don't even know how to, I did kind of explain it. It's just so much that it feels like they're spreading it on thick, and I don't need that. Still an enjoyable movie. I really did enjoy this movie. I'd give this movie a 7 out of 10. This isn't one I'll watch. I would maybe watch this movie around Halloween. I'll watch this in October again, because it is enjoyable, and it's the city of Chicago. It's enjoyable enough. Not my favorite one in the world. It's not one, like, when I do watch it again, I don't think I'll pay as close of attention as I did this last two times. It's just going to be one of those movies where you put in the background and then watch the cool horror aspects of it. And